Alright, what's going on, everybody? It is 9/19. This is the day of UFC 103. Just woke up, I'd say about 25-30 minutes ago. And one of the things I do the first morning of the fights is I actually get on, and I talked about this yesterday, but I get on and I check YouTube, I check you guys' comments, I check who's put videos up, and as of right now, who is that? That is the MMA analyst. That's Karsten. So generally what I do is I see if he's got a video up. I'll watch it the day of the fights. Karsten's a very, very knowledgeable guy. He brings a different perspective to the sport. And because he's a lot more active than I have been here in the last couple months, with jiu-jitsu and training in MMA, doing Muay Thai. There's a lot of different dynamics that he brings in that he looks at. And this... camera's a little shaky there. This video in particular, he's bringing some really, really good points to the table. So if you haven't seen his UFC 103 predictions, make sure you check that out. One of the other things I do, I'll show you real quick, is, let me go down here real quick. I know this is really like a mess, but I'll pop in a UFC DVD, usually a couple hours before the fight, and I'll watch something. In particular, the one that I'm going to watch today, I'll actually show you. And there's a reason that I'm going to watch this, and I'll kind of explain it. Because this particular fight, even though I know it's probably going to go this way, stylistically, the way that it looks, is I'm going to watch Josh Koscheck and Georges St-Pierre. Now, the reason that I wanted to watch this fight was because of a couple points in the fight where Koscheck actually had, pretty good dominant positions on GSP, and when I say dominant positions, as far as getting solid takedowns, that's one aspect that, in this fight with Frank Trigg, that if Trigg doesn't come in and is able to shrug those takedowns off, he's going to be in for a long night, as well as, you can make the argument that Koscheck, while he might not have the better hands, his striking has really improved, so we'll have to see how that plays out in the fight. But that should be very, very interesting. But yeah, this is generally what I do in the mornings. One of the other things I do, and I promised I'd show you guys this, when I prep for a UFC event, and I actually prep to, talk about the fights, what I do is actually write some notes down. You guys don't see this because it's actually up on a clipboard. It's masked up, and I'll show this to you. It's actually right here. And what I do is I write down, highlights, things that I want to talk about the fight. For example, on here I talked about, Rich Franklin, he's got a brown belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, solid striker, good takedown defense, good clinch, where he trains out of. All the things that I know in my head that I want to say while I'm doing a predictions video. If I know that I might not run across it and it's fresh in my head while I'm thinking about it, I'll write it down so that I can just glance over if I forget about something. So I take notes. I get real dedicated about making sure that I put across the right information in the videos. So that's one of the things that I do. So we'll see what else I do today. So right now, I'm actually watching the Josh Koscheck and Georges St-Pierre fight. What I was telling you guys about earlier was Josh Koscheck got that explosive takedown. I'm actually going to show it to you real quick right now.
Koscheck is so good when he gets a limb. Wow, that is an explosive takedown.
So that's pretty much what I was wanting to see on this. I've been watching this fight about the last 15 minutes. Been watching it off and on while doing some things here in the house. And this is generally what I do on the day before the fights. I'll watch a fight, I'll analyze it, so that when I'm watching the fight later at the sports bar, if this is something that Koscheck ends up trying to do, will he get that takedown? And you can kind of make the conclusion for yourself how you feel about that. But in my mind, I think that Trigg's going to have some problems if Koscheck gets a hold of a leg and is able to get him down to the ground. So just something that I do. Like I said, I watch right before a fight card. So I'll have some more things here in a little while. Alright, what's going on, guys? I'm actually checking out the, make sure this is zoomed all the way out. I'm actually checking the weigh-ins right now. I missed them yesterday. So, this is something I do before most of the events. Is I check what the fighter's weight is and what they came in at. You can actually tell a lot by the way a fighter is weighed in. One of the things that you look for is, do they look cut? Do they look like they normally do? Is this their, the weight that is their prime weight where they normally fight the best at? Are they a little bit bigger than usual? Are they a little bit more, have a little bit more body fat than usual? Are they too cut? One of the things you look for is if they're way underweight, they may have overtrained. That's a problem that you see. Phil Baroni's a perfect example. Back in the day against Evan Tanner in their second fight, was way too cut. Had too many issues with overtraining. If a guy's too big and isn't at his peak weight, maybe not enough training. If you see a guy barely make weight, or he's having issues making weight and has to cut a pound or even 2 pounds, sometimes that plays into a fight. So some of the things that happened on this one, Vitor missed weight by 1.25 pounds. We had Efren Escudero miss weight by 1 pound. And then Hermes Frank and Tyson Griffin agreed to fight at 159 in a catch weight. So, those are issues that you see sometimes with people not being able to make weight. Hopefully, especially with Vitor and Efren, they don't run into problems in their fight. But nonetheless, should be interesting. I was looking at some of the pictures too. Some of the guys look, right around their peak cut weight. Crow Cop looked a little bit bigger than usual. Sometimes he comes in more cut. Sometimes he comes in a little bit heavier than usual as far as his body fat. He normally weighs in, his peak weight's usually around 224, 225. He weighed in at 226. He's just a little bit above that. Another perfect example of somebody that weighed in a little bit above what they normally do is like Drew McFedries. He usually makes weight pretty fairly easily. He came in just a quarter over 185, so I don't know if that's enough to really say that it's going to change the fight, but those are things that I look for. So hopefully, if you're wanting to know why do people watch fights, the weigh-in so closely, this is why. These are things you can look for in the fight and see what possibly could happen that night. Alright, so getting ready to go pick my girlfriend up. She just got done doing a beach cleanup today. Today's like National Beach Cleanup Day over on the East Coast here in Florida. So gonna go pick her up. She's actually gonna be joining me tonight for the UFC event. Her birthday is on Sunday, so gonna be spending a little bit of time today before that. I'll have some footage tonight. I'm not going to do a whole bunch, just because of I wanted to spend some time with her, but also try to key in and watch the fights and be able to do some updates with my BlackBerry. I'll get some footage of my reactions to some of the fights tonight on video. But I'm on my way now to go pick my girlfriend up, and I will do another little clip here in just a little bit.